Hey everybody, meteorologist Mike Griffith here for Carolina Weather Pro. It is about 11:11. Look at that here on Thursday evening, September 14th, 2017. Just wanted to give an update on the tropics and also to my winter preliminary outlook, which I said it was going to be a weak neutral to weak El Nino and it's going to dump a lot of snow on us and all that. Okay, so I'm going to set the record straight. I jumped on that too fast, and what I'm going to say tonight is going to contradict that. But it's going to stay this way, and I'm not going to go back, especially for here in the southeast, anywhere south of maybe even Maryland, I want to say, south of Richmond, especially with I-95. I want to say that it's probably going to be a warmer and drier winter here in the south than it was last year, but that's not saying the same thing for the northeast. In fact, let's take a look here and get started with the forecast. We're looking at the Atlantic Basin right now with Jose out there churning away just to the northeast of the Bahamas. And he's pretty much completed his turn. Hard to see on satellite because he's only a Category 1. He's not really too well defined. He's fighting a lot of shear and a lot of unfavorable environmental conditions in here. And then he will start to track slowly towards the Carolina coast, but not saying he's going to make landfall here, just saying that he's going to come close and he's going to kind of either come up this way, right here, because of a blocking high that's going to be up over the Canadian Maritimes. So he might either come up like this, close by, brush Carolina coast, and maybe even clip Cape Hatteras, or Cape Hatteras. You can tell it's been a busy tropical season here. Cape Cod up there in Massachusetts. Okay, that's where all us Yankees are from up there in the Northeast. Okay, that's track number one that he could take. Another track that he could take would be more or less of a threat to land, but we're not thinking it's really likely, and it would kind of be more like this and kind of go off that way into his own area out to sea. But we're not really seeing that right now. We're seeing more of the westward track, and unfortunately that could put southern and eastern New England a little bit in the give them a little bit of heartburn. Now, if I can capture it here on the screen, we're looking at another area of disturbed weather there just on the corner of this satellite image. That's going to be a new invest that just formed, and it's going to be tracking west like this, according to the National Hurricane Center, if you like my arrow. And then there's another system behind that that just came off the African coast. Let me show you what I'm talking about right here. Let me move myself out of the way so you can actually see what's going on. Right there is Tropical Depression 14, just off the African coast. And here is the invest that just formed, 80% of chance over the next 5 days. This looks like they're thinking it's going to come into the Lesser Antilles. Not good news for the islands here that was just ravaged by Irma a week or so ago, or however long it was ago. Don't hold me to it, because I've just been kind of weird with working all these weird hours and weird shifts and all that. And here's 14 right here. Now, what are these supposed to do? Or here's right, Jose. What are these supposed to do as far as the forecast track? Well, let's take a look here at the models, and we're looking at the GFS and also the European side by side. And the European has a spaghetti plot, pretty thick plot of spaghetti here with tracks that are in general agreement, kind of like this, up in the median range like this, and then kind of like out to sea. The GFS likes to kind of take them west and then more north and then eventually out to sea. So either one of these tracks is looking like it's generally going to have this curve to it, and it's not going to really go directly in the land. So there's some agreement here, according to these models, which is going to take it more on a track that's going to be away from land. However, some of these agree that Cape Hatteras and the Outer Banks might actually feel a couple of rain bands from this system, maybe even Southeast Virginia, which could have some of the spirals come on shore, but they might not lash the coast or anything because it's only expected to be a Category 1 at any point, so not a real big deal there. And according to the GFS deterministic model, which is just one model, it kind of wobbles in there just off the Carolina coast. That's 949 low, and then it just kind of brushes New England, Cape Cod right there, eastern Massachusetts, maybe even Providence, Rhode Island in there, and then it's history, and it's gone. Look at the snow out there in the northwest in the mountains. That's definitely an indicator that fall is getting ready to arrive here. And here comes that other invest that we saw in the southern Atlantic. And the GFS likes to unfortunately take it right into Florida. Of course, we're still a ways out here with this, so we're not going to say that this is at all set in grain. We're not going to say that this is a forecast right here because it's the 26th of September, and that's 12 days away. but looking like we're going to see if this is going to become a trend here as far as the whatever storm name this would be, either Maria or Lee, if it was named, that would hit Florida here. So let's back up a model run here into this morning's run, and let's see if it was still consistent in having this. Well, it kind of takes it out to sea. So there's no real good agreement between both runs. So we're going to have to watch this one because it's not necessarily set in stone what this next one is going to do behind Jose. Now, this is the information I wanted to share with you as far as the wintertime. There is a La Nina watch that has been issued for NOAA by NOAA, and it looks like they're going to be taking us into a slightly negative territory here, is going to October, November, December, January, February, and March down here. It's below zero, which is going to be negative, which means La Nina. Cooler water in the Pacific, which means a lot of different things here for the East Coast. Some of them mean an active pattern, but they also mean warm and dry for the Southeast. So this is the Climate Prediction Center, who they work with there, and it looks like the models are indicating the La Nina, hence they issued the La Nina watch just today. So that's interesting. So what does that mean for us here in the States? Well, generally speaking, just as a rough rule of guidance here, and this is by NOAA, we're looking at a variable Pacific jet stream, and we're looking at high pressure over the Gulf of Alaska, which is what you want. Excuse me. And the jet stream comes down from Canada, which is also good with the cold air. Tropical jet stream from the Pacific, the southern branch, kind of stays to the north, and it doesn't really dig too much into the south as we would want it to get really big East Coast storms here and nor'easters. So anywhere from, like I said, the Richmond, 995, Southeast Virginia, down in the Carolinas, into the south, it's going to stay warm and dry through much of the winter here, but the activity is all going to be up here in Philly. Of course, they're up north, so they get more snow, and it's going to be an active pattern here across the Northeast, all the way from West Virginia up to Maine, and that's what it's looking like here, especially up in the Midwest and even the Ohio River Valley, maybe even down into Kentucky or Arkansas as far as the rain goes, but not looking at a whole lot of activity in Florida. Might not be getting those cold outbreaks that I said in the previous video. Yes, I do realize in the previous video I did say that it's going to be a snowy and cold winter for many in the Northeast or the eastern part of the United States in general, and that was yesterday. The day before, a La Nina watch was actually issued today, so I stand corrected on that. Thank you for watching this video, because it actually is a contradiction to the previous one, which I stand as wrong because I didn't check. But now I did some research, and I'm listening to NOAA, I'm finding out what's going on, and now this is all starting to make more sense here, especially for us in the East. So this is what the general pattern for La Nina is here in the eastern United States. Not saying that this is set in stone, not saying that nobody's going to get snow in the Carolinas, but it's just looking like it's not going to be a brutal winter down here in the Southeast, especially from Virginia to Florida and even out into Texas. But it could be very active and very snowy, especially across the Ohio River Valley and into the Northeast, and that's what it looks like right now. Of course, we will update this as time goes on, and I want to thank you for watching this segment of Carolina Weather Pro. I am meteorologist Mike Griffith. Have a great weekend, everybody.